What if the most important Lakers decision this month isn't a blockbuster trade, a new lineup, or a front office promise? What if it's a quiet name moving off the board? What if the story people think is just preseason noise is actually the map for how J.J. Redick intends to survive the first half of the season? And what if the player at the center of all this is a wing we were convinced could be a plug-and-play shooter? Until the league reminded us that nothing is plug-and-play at this level, I'm going to take you courtside and boardroom side because both matter tonight. I'll explain why the staff values repeatable defense over theoretical spacing, how rotations are built in real time when veterans need minutes and stars expect balance, and where the market stands for a young scorer whose value swings with every touch. If you want insider-level breakdowns without the fluff, you're in the right place. This is Lakers News Fan Report. If you're new here and want honest, fast updates with real analysis, stick with me and consider jumping on board so you never miss a move. Let's start with the on-court truth that coaches whisper but rarely say into a mic. Wing minutes are the hardest minutes to earn when the team wants to win right now. The job description is brutal hit open threes, guard up a position one possession, and down a position the next. Read help early, rebound as the low man, and don't blink when you're targeted in space. Shooters who can't guard get hunted. Defenders who can't hit, catch, and shoot get ignored. The rotation accepts neither extreme for very long, especially when your best players need space and structure to be their best selves. Dalton, necked enter with a label we all loved, polished scorer, NBA range mature body, a wing who could help in year one. There were nights last season when he looked like a value pick, the kind of 17th selection that grows into a real piece. There were also nights when he faded out of the rotation, not because the shot abandoned him forever, but because everything around the shot angles, timing, close-out discipline, second efforts wasn't repeatable enough for a playoff-minded group. That tension followed him into the summer, where the expectation was simple: reset, show the improved base, win back the benefit of the doubt. Instead, summer ball became a mirror. Overwork can be a brutal teacher. You chase a leap, your legs get heavy, your reads slow down half a beat, and suddenly every attempt feels like it's under a microscope. Then came preseason, and you saw the same push-pull, a cold opener that made scouts talk about negative asset value. And then a better showing double-digit points, activity on the glass, some playmaking flashes that showed why the front office liked the profile in the first place. If you've been watching closely, you felt both truths. The talent is real. The margin for error is thin. This is where J.J. Redick's system matters. His offense wants corners occupied, slot cutters on time, and the ball moving from advantage to advantage without the dribble pounding the air out of it. His defense asks wings to stunt and recover with discipline, to tag the roller with contact, and to communicate with the low man like a second point guard. That requires trust first, highlights second. When the film says late stunt, no body on the roller, footwork crossed on the closeout, the coaching staff trims minutes. Not because they're out on a player, but because the game script demands fewer mistakes per possession. I'm not here to pile on a young wing. I'm here to explain the cold math. LeBron James at this stage needs spacing he believes in and teammates who shorten possessions with the right choice. Anthony Davis needs the weak side rebounding sealed and the nail protected so he isn't cleaning up two messes at once. Role players around him have to fail fast and correct faster, or their minutes disappear into a veteran's pocket. That's not politics, it's survival for a team with win-now expectations. Now, rotate with me through the depth chart. The Lakers have an unusual crowd at the 2-3 band, guys who can defend point of attack, veterans who know the playbook in their sleep, and a couple of bench pieces who, while not elite shooters, do enough things right that coaches exhale when they check in. Every minute given to a developmental player is a minute taken from a veteran the staff trusts to make 7 out of 10 small decisions correctly. That's the economy of rotations. No one escapes it. Let's zoom to the market side because you asked me for the whole picture. When a player's value dips, rival teams smell opportunity, but they also want a discount. If a front office believes a wing can be rebuilt with reps, they call with second-round frameworks. Or with a, we'll take him into a trade exception if you pay the toll. If they don't believe, they don't call at all. The Lakers' challenge is walking that tightrope. They can't throw sweeteners around like candy, and they can't afford to sink an asset further by playing him out of position just to showcase him. The only way out is real improvement on the floor, or a reset that takes him off the stage for a while. Which brings us to the pressure point, the line I know you came for, but that I needed to build to with care. All signs today point to the same practical reality. Dalton Neck is, for now, out of the Lakers' rotation. Not out of the organization. Not written off. But out of the nightly plan that J.J. Redick is using to stabilize this team in the early goings. That's the news. That's the headline. And to be clear, that status can change. Rotations are living things. But right now, the minutes map doesn't have his name inked in. What does out of the rotation actually look like? It means the initial substitution pattern doesn't include him unless foul trouble or injuries force a change. It means his minutes, when they come, are more situational matchups where his size on the wing can be leveraged, or nights where the offense badly needs a jolt of confident shooting and the staff is willing to live with some variance. It also means a different weekly rhythm, more practice reps, potentially some targeted assignments to keep the engine warm, and an emphasis on defensive fundamentals in film and drills. Is that harsh? It's honest. The coaching staff's first job is to give the stars a predictable platform. When your bench is a coin flip on defensive execution, you don't flip it. You stack the deck with guys who talk, rotate, and box out like they're allergic to second chances. That's how one-possession games become 5-point wins. That's how streaks start. Now, there's a second headline in here that matters just as much. The door is not closed. If you watched that better preseason game, you saw why. Neck got downhill without forcing, kept his eyes up, and competed on the glass. When his feet were set, the shot looked like what the scouting report promised. These aren't home run signs, they're bricks you can build with. If he turns those into habits, coaches notice. If he turns them into habits while the team is winning, minutes reappear like they never left. Let's talk about how that path back works, because it's not magic. First, he has to win the no-mistake minutes. That's the 2 to 4 minutes on each side of a quarter where coaches still rest for a starter. Make your rotations on time, communicate the coverage, hit the open catch and shoot, and keep the ball from sticking. Do that enough times in a row, and your 2-minute shift becomes a 5-minute shift. Second, he has to turn closeouts into decisions. If defenders fly this shot, the counter has to be a straight-line drive into a pass or a strong finish, not a drifting floater. Third, he has to improve his weak side discipline. NBA offense loves the greedy helper. NBA defense hates him. There's also a roll tweak that could help him. Redick's playbook leans on shake actions where the weak side wing lifts to the slot on penetration. If Neck times that lift and stays ready, he converts paint touches into clean looks before the defense resets. Add a simple pitch-ahead responsibility in early offense run wide. Flatten the corner, be loud, and you buy yourself easy rhythm threes. On defense, simplify the menu. Tag with a forearm, talk the switch, then sprint to the corner like it's a race you must win. Remove the gray areas. Live in black and white rules. On the front office side, here's the calculus I see. Rob Pelinka has said the team will be opportunistic during the season if something improves the group. Picks are limited, and the Lakers prefer not to push future flexibility into the red unless the upgrade is obvious. That makes a young wing both a potential bridge and a test. If he plays well, he helps you and raises his own value. If he doesn't, he's a low-value chip you're reluctant to include because the return won't justify the development costs you've already put in. The middle ground, wait, coach hard, and revisit later is the most likely path today. Let me address a rumor-shaped question I know is already in the comments. Would the Lakers attach something to move him now? My view is simple and straight. Unless the incoming player dramatically changes the playoff math, you don't pay a tax to move a young shooter in October or November. You coach, you clarify roles, and you insulate your stars with veterans while the kid fights for trust. If he turns the corner, great. If not, the market in January and February is always more crowded. Teams get honest about what they need and buyers expand. There's also the human side. You can see a young player wanting it too much overworking after the season, pressing in summer games, hunting the perfect shot instead of hunting the correct read. Los Angeles is a tough stage. The uniform is heavy, the audience is global, and the comparisons are unfair. Part of development is teaching a player to breathe when the lights get bright. Part is knowing when to take him out of the crosshairs and let him rebuild quietly. If out of the rotation gives him that runway, it's not punishment, it's smart care. Where does this leave the Lakers on the court right now? It likely means more staggered minutes with LeBron orchestrating second units. More three-guard looks when the opponent doesn't punish size. And a tighter 8-9-man core on nights when the game is there to be taken early. It means living with some offensive droughts because the bench is built on defensive reliability first. It also means that when the game calls for a flyer, a lineup that needs a quick 7 points next name is still one the staff can call. It's simply not a name they pencil in before the anthem. Let me be crystal. I'm not waving a white flag on the player. I'm reading what the film and the substitution patterns say. Right now, the Lakers are trying to create a baseline they can trust night after night. When you're building that baseline, every possession counts double, and the bar for rotation wings is higher than fans realize. The easiest way for a young shooter to clear it is to play small, boring basketball. Stand in the right place, shoot only the right shots, make the early pass, and be loud on defense. Boring wins you minutes. Minutes win you rhythm. Rhythm wins you games. Before I close, I want to bring you in. If you were running the rotation, how would you handle Dalton's minutes? Would you stash him completely until the habits stick in practice? Would you give him a short nightly runway to hunt threes? Or would you push him in certain matchups to see if a good night can snowball? And if a trade caller asked about him, what would you need back to feel comfortable moving on? Tell me below, be specific about lineups, matchups, and what kinds of wings you trust next to LeBron and AD in crunch time. This community gets smarter when you lay out your own map. Here's my concise read to end it. As of today, the right basketball decision is exactly what the staff is doing. Dalton necked, sits outside the primary rotation until the defensive habits and decision-making are consistent enough to lift the floor, not just raise the ceiling. That keeps the team stable, protects stars, and leaves a path for him to reclaim minutes the honest way by stacking good shifts, not chasing hero moments. If he builds that base, the door reopens. If he doesn't, the front office will revisit the market when buyers are clearer about their needs. If you want more of this kind of straight talk, stay locked in with me here on Lakers News Fan Report. Drop your take in the comments, share this with a friend who lives and breathes purple and gold, and keep your alerts on when the rotation moves. We'll be here first with what it means and what comes next.